Good morning, Oprah. So Cynthia, indeed, indeed, indeedness. Thou Shanghai, Assalamu alaikum. Comment allez-vous? Comment ça va? Comment est-ce? What's up, bro? This is Musau MattmeachamJR signing in on Earth, and I'm going to do a reading from my book, The War Has Begun. If you have been following me, you know that I'm working on several books to be published by the end of the year. And one of the books, which is a futuristic novel entitled The War Has Begun. This is a book, it takes place in the future 200 years from today. And I use as a focal point for my drama, we are dealing with I locate my characters on the continent of Africa and Mars. I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm gonna read a little bit about. I'm gonna read a little bit up from the book, and then I'm gonna have a discussion about the book. Let me just read a little bit, and then I'm gonna come back with a discussion. I'm reading from my book to be published. The war has begun. Most humans fail to go outside certain constraints where the real truths lie. The human being rests comfortably within realms which pose no threats because we become victims of our own diabolical schemes. And the effect is merely a result. With results come conclusions. This is where all the problems begin. Conclusions can be fallacious. Womankind uses conclusions for judgment. Then we take these judgments and wipe out entire civilizations. We persecute our fellow man, and chaos establishes itself where merciless bloodshed pervades. We justify slaughter and neglect with our own judgments. The human species continues to follow a course of retrogress where womankind, shout out invectives at each other. The truth ultimately manifests where it is evident that it is not about the welfare of humanity, but the opulence of a certain shell. That's in the very beginning of my book, The War Has Begun. And if you recall, this book takes place in the future, 200 years from today. I As far as where the Earthlings, all the Earthlings, basically my action for the Earthlings, it takes place on the continent of Africa. And the Martians have been watching the Earth. Now, I find some quite interesting things happening in the contemporary world and in contemporary Africa. So what I'll probably do, I'll probably integrate issues and fictionalize issues in my book, that my novel, because my novel is fiction. I think I have a very I was thinking about a very crucial point in my novel, and where we have this thing that's going on right now. We have the right now in the undeveloped country, well, only in three undeveloped countries, in the third world countries, we have these. Well, perhaps maybe it's more because I've only discovered three, but I'm sure if I search the internet, I'll probably find more. But there's an uprising that's going on in particular parts of the earth, in particular countries. And by coincidence, the three countries that I know of, all of these are what we call third world countries. You have incidents where young people are trying to destroy their governments. And then we also had a pre-event that happened several years ago, where the world was forced to take in certain injections, and now you have the mostly young people rebelling in the particular societies which I have observed. You have young people rebelling against their governments. Now, what I'm going to do with my novel, I'm going I'm going to have one of the leaders of the country of the countries where the young people are rebelling. I am going to put the leaders' children in the rebellion. It'd be the rebellion since the young people are rebelling, and you have these old people, tyrants who are ruling, despots who are ruling. They will kill the children of their citizens. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the young people. The young people would be the children of the despots, the children of the tyrants. So when those who are in leadership decide to aim their guns have their guns to be aimed at children and young people, somewhere in the drama, the child of the tyrant, or the child of the leader, or the child of the soldier, of the child of the policeman is in the child, is in the crowd. So what happens is, when the selfish leadership says kill them, his child would be one of the child. His youth would be his daughter, his son would be a victim. Okay, so you have the leadership, and leadership refuses to listen to what the youth are saying. And what's going to happen in my book? It will take place in the future. A war has begun. Leadership, soldiers, those who kill the children of others, they're going to find their own children in the crowd. And the soldiers will be killing their own children. The despots, the tyrants, will be killing their own children. And then that that gives me something else to go on. Uh, I'm, I'm I'm trying to focus on how to deal with my novel. The war has begun. So it's okay. It's okay for selfish leadership to have the army or the police force to go out and kill the children of his citizens. But what if his child is in that crowd? The soldier who shoots the child demonstrating. But what if that child is his? That's a those are the type of incidents I have in my novel. The war has begun, and what I think is, if this thing continues to happen, this generation, this questionable Generation Z revolution. In my book, it would be entitled The War Has Begun, which I will hope to have completed by the end of the year. And perhaps I'll get enough material considering the sociological and political developments that are happening on the continent of Africa. You know, as the events continue, and as we have these events where like in Bangladesh, they said multiple children, multiple young people were killed, multiple hundreds of people of young people were killed by the soldiers in Bangladesh. But see, uh, what is to happen in Africa is we would all find out day by day as we monitor the situation. We will see what will be the sociological and political developments in the continent of Africa. So, in my book, The War Has Begun, I plan to put a scene or a chapter where you have the youth who are rebelling against the system. And remember, you get these crowds of young people who running in the streets, crying in the streets, shouting in the streets against their governments. In my book, The War Has Begun, guess who's going to be in that crowd? The children of the leaders of the country, the children, the youth. And so when you selfish leaders, and then you kill your own son, you kill your own daughter, you kill your own people. I think the the Generation Z, I am convinced, I am totally convinced that it is a conspiracy. I am totally convinced that it is a conspiracy. But maybe this conspiracy is God sent. You had the Sodom and Gomorrah, and what happens in the Sodom? Okay, he had his angels. He sent his angels to Sodom and Gomorrah. He said, "Look, you guys are doing the wrong thing." Um, I think Lot, if I may be wrong, but I think Lot, when the angels came to Lot and said to Lot, they said, "Look, your people are doing terrible things. Your people are sinning in God's eyes." There, People are sinning. Men are loving men, and women are loving men. When women and women are loving women. So God sent his angels, and he said, Lot, this city must be destroyed. I may be wrong. I think that it was Lot that the angel spoke to. They said, Lot, go tell your people to correct themselves. And Lot knew that his people were so corrupt, that they were so evil. He said, look, if I can find, my number may be wrong, but Lot said, if I can find 5 people in Sodom and Gomorrah that are praising the Lord and obeying his law, will you save it? God said, yes. But see, Lot knew that these people in Sodom and Gomorrah were so corrupt that he may not find 5 people out of 1,000. He knew that he would not be able to find 5 human souls out of 1,000. God, if he came down to this, he said, God, if I could find one. God said, yes, find one. He could not find one. He could not find one in the city in this Sodom and Gomorrah. He could not find one, and God destroyed the whole city. So that's where we at. And what these young people are doing today, they are saying, look, father, mother, this is wrong what you're doing. This is wrong what you're doing. What are they doing? The people are starving, and the leaders are they got $1 billion in bank accounts. They got $1 million in bank accounts in other countries, and the people are starving. The children of the nation are hungry. So this corruption, it may be this corruption that's so strong, that's so embedded in the motherland, and instead of men, children, young people are saying, let's do the right thing. So in my book, um, that will be completed, that will be completed by the end of the year, my book will integrate these present moments that are happening right now in Africa, where the young people are rising up against corruption. And who is this secret? Who is this invisible? Who is this invisible entity? Generation Z. Who is this? What is this? Well, I guess in time we shall find out. But we must also consider the reason why. And so what my book is going to show, it's going to show this corrupt leadership. The corrupt leadership will be gunning for its citizens' child. But what they're going to find out, they're going to find out that their children are in that crowd. And those soldiers who kill those children, they're going to go and discover that that was my child. I shot my child. You see, I'm a classical writer. I write about the times, and I write about the philosophy of the times, and I write about the sociology of the time. and I write about the politics of the time. So basically, I'm getting material to write for my book to be published called "The War Has Begun." Although in my book is futuristic, and the war is between Earthlings and Martians, but I would take incidents and occurrences that occur right now, specifically in Africa. Why is this revolution started? Why did it start? Why did this revolution start in Kenya? Okay, ask that question. Look at this. The circle. Why did this revolution begin in Kenya? Think. Where did mankind? Where did mankind begin? Isn't that interesting? This revolution began in Kenya. But where did mankind begin? Mankind began in Kenya. This is Musau MattmeachamJR signing off on Earth.